Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 27th of February. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then go through each of the 12 signs from Aries through to Pisces, which you can relate to in terms of your sun or your ascendant. The choice is yours. Now, as this week begins, there is a magnificent conjunction between Venus and Jupiter, and it is also going to get a lot of comment. And rightly, these are the two planets of the two benefics in traditional astrology: lesser Venus, greater Jupiter. Venus is Jupiter's daughter in mythology, but in the sign of Aries, of course, Venus is technically detrimented. But I think what Venus does is just gives us in Aries a greater desire to go for what we want, the things that we're passionate about. So Jupiter, of course, can also be very dynamic in Aries. So that's all a lot to do with thrust, and it could create, by being in the moment and having the confidence to listen to our instincts, which is a very Aries type of energy, some good fortune could unfold. But there is also a quarter moon on Monday in the sign of Gemini, and that's house 3. The sun is in house 12. A third house 12th house square suggests that if we're a little bit too open with information, especially to people we don't know very well, or we let something slip that should be kept in confidence, or we get caught up in some gossip doing the rounds, it's not necessarily going to be a good thing. Also, Venus and Jupiter could make us a little bit too open, a bit too spontaneous. So I think it's important to measure what we say in a careful way. And this is emphasised furthermore because by the middle of the week, Mercury comes into a very powerful conjunction with Saturn. And of course, Mercury is exalted in the sign of Aquarius, and Saturn is about to say au revoir to this sign and move into the sign of Pisces. So they're both about to move because Mercury moves on Thursday into Pisces, where of course it's also detrimented. But this just suggests that when it comes to long-term plans or our friendships, the need to really be clear about what we want and what we say is going to be absolutely essential. If you're not quite sure about a situation, something could seem rather oppressive, maybe at someone's point of view. Maybe someone can seem a little bit dour or limited in their response. But I take you back to that quarter moon, because that provides the backdrop of energy for the whole of this week. And that's suggesting that we don't buy in too much to some of the negativity that might be doing the rounds, and we embrace some of the positivity that we can get from Venus's conjunction with Jupiter, which itself will come into a peak on the 2nd of March. So a lot of exciting possibilities this week, but please stay with me for your full sun sign forecast. But if you would like to grow beyond this zodiac insight, if you give me 3 pieces of your personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can provide you with a life roadmap that can give you an awful amount of extra information to help guide your moves. You can become much more intimately aware of some of the patterns which have repeated themselves in your life, the more challenging ones and the more positive ones. Also, in my special package of 30% off, you can get your 12-month personal forecast. Now, these reports are totally unique to each person I produce them for, so they give you an opportunity to gain searing insights above just zodiac horoscopes. So Aquarius, your week commencing the 27th of February, sees that link between Venus and Jupiter, but also Chiron. If there has been some unhappiness around a close relationship with a neighbour or someone in your community, perhaps even with a family member, there's an opportunity with that combination for some healing to take place. But in a more creative sense, your way of thinking about things, your agility, but also your sense of humour, your individuality, you can showcase all of them in a very exciting way. You know, just the way you express things could be something that people can really relate to very well. Now, of course, the Sun is involved in a semi-sextile with that trio, so there could be a financial uptick that comes. That's possible with Venus and Jupiter. I don't want to be trivial because I feel that's something to avoid with serious astrology, but the two planets of fortune coming together in a semi-sextile with the Sun in your second house of everyday money, it looks pretty good. Also, of course, Mercury combines with your traditional ruler, Saturn, for the last time in 27 years in your sign. Let's just think back, you know, the last couple of years, it began in March 20 through to August the 2nd, 20, December 17th, 20, right through to now. Saturn in the sign of Aquarius for us water bearers. It hasn't been an easy journey, but probably like me, you've learnt a lot because Uranus, the modern ruler of Aquarius, has been clashing with Saturn for a lot of that time. That has created a much more powerful experience in terms of this particular transition. Now, Saturn always tests us out wherever it is, but it also can bring us rewards. So as it's about to move into the sign of Pisces on the 7th of March, this connection between Mercury and Saturn could help you to really think, do you know, I have simplified my life. I do know much more what my purpose is. I know much more about who I am. I know much more about my emotional situation, which Uranus has disrupted, and particularly where you live. So there's been a lot of lessons learned. So as you think about those, you know, raise a glass and think of me. I'll be raising one as well, because with Venus and Jupiter together with Chiron, maybe some good news can bring this period, this major period, to an end in a positive way. Just to say, the quarter moon which occurs this week does caution us Aquarius people not to be too free and easy with resources when it comes to anything to do with risk, the 5th house where Mars and the moon are. But also the 5th second house square can be to do with generosity. Much better to be over generous than over mean. So if you do decide to spoil someone that you care for this week, why not? Just telling you the information for you to make your own decision. Now, of course, later this week, Mercury does move out of Aquarius and into the sign of Pisces for a short transition through to the 19th of March, when it moves into the feisty Aries. Now, Mercury isn't particularly comfortable in the sign of Pisces. It's detrimented. All the water can dissolve some of its clarity. But for us, it's very much about grappling with the material plane, but also thinking a lot also about the detail around everyday transactions, but also thinking about our self-worth too. So from one Aquarius to another, here's to the next epoch when Saturn moves into Pisces, which will be on my next weekly video. For now, take care, good luck. If you've got a comment you'd like to share, please do so. I answer all of them. And please like and subscribe. Thank you.